Hello everyone, it's the man of stumbling speech again, Roland L. I've been praying to the Lord about some of my walk and a little concerned about it because of what some other brethren felt. And this is what I believe he showed me this morning. Before my mind was clogged by the things of the day, my Lord reminded me what a lieutenant once said to me while in the Coast Guard. He said, the Coast Guard wasn't his God. At a time we both were facing a reduction in force. That stayed with me through the years as it resonated so much for me. I was 18 years into being an Army Reserve technician across from the U.S. Coast Guard Yard, parentheses, and I really didn't want to obligate myself to military service beyond 20 years. Yet the rules had changed, and all technicians were being forced to stay until they were age 60, or forfeit their job as a technician that's in uniform. I had told my wife, the Army doesn't own me. Only one person owns me, and that's Jesus Christ, while pointing heavenly. I have never liked the world or humanity dictating to me directions for my life or how my life should play out, especially when the contract is changed in midstream to one's original obligation to service. To me, this is enslavement to the world, and the world taking on godship to another's life. Don't get me wrong, military obligations should always be honored, especially in a time of war, and many have paid the ultimate price. Nor am I the one to shrink from my obligation or loyalty to my brother in arms who may be asked to shed their blood for the sake of others. In fact, I forced the Army to amend my orders as to not be removed from my current unit, which I was serving with, as being mobilized in support of the Afghanistan and Iraqi wars. I had a chance to get out of it. I didn't think I was right. Although I could have avoided this mobilization due to administrative sloppiness and sloth, so I insisted on remaining, and I was then cut orders under Operation Enduring Freedom and sent on my way just like the rest of the troops I was serving with the past few years. What is interesting, however, is that little more than a year after my returning home and the second day back in my old watercraft unit, I was in water survival training, is when I had my career-ending heart attack in water survival training. By the calendar, it was 20 years by the calendar of my 20 years of service, which I had been grumbling about within my service career the years before. As I told my wife, only one person owns me, the Lord. I was not expected to survive the night, and like I have posted before, I had Jesus shoulder to shoulder with me when my heart stopped. They medically retired me a couple years later as my heart would not allow for combat conditions. I remember my dad saying, be careful what you wish for because you just might get it. I don't intend to be vindictive when mentioning what I was told recently, that I've left the Lord, love of the country, more than love for Christ, and I was being chastened of God, and given the circumstances concerning my heart. So in not taking any chances with these so-called prophetic words, I must admit I cheerfully sought the Lord in the depth of my being, asking why he had graced me so much. And I was thinking about Pastor Gross on when I was in street ministry as a young man, throwing that in. And he felt I had strayed from, and yeah, I don't know why I wrote this, but I said, and he felt I had strayed from my love of him to rather loving the world instead. Well, that isn't what I thought, but Let me scroll down here. The deep reminder I was given this morning concerning the lieutenant's words to me so many years ago resonated with me again about Americanism being my God, Donald Trump, and the rest. This type of thinking is not consistent with how the Lord has chosen to do a work within my life. And in fact, it is exactly opposite. The grace of God has been tried and tested again in my life, especially when considering this my second trial of dealing with my heart. In removing infected hardware was only made possible for success by receiving a world-renowned surgeon, Dr. Love, who invented laser surgery on the heart, and who said I was a challenge for him while being turned away by other hospitals. The steps of the righteous are ordained to God, and no matter how well-meaning, mere men can be deceived to what has actually taken place within another's heart, just like with Job's friends, as he was put to the test by Satan. I am reminded the old hymnal song, Amazing Grace. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. Then the end of the song, and 'tis grace that will lead me home. So that's what the Lord moved me to think about this morning, and reveal to my heart towards him, and revealing my heart towards him. It is he who is Lord of my life, not because I have earned it, but by grace alone. He has moved me in it. So that's what I wanted to say today. And like I said, I don't make this video to attack anybody that I feel may have misjudged me, but to rather to show that when you go to the Lord, and I believe when the Lord does the work in your life, when he's elected you towards salvation, that starts off in grace, and I believe it ends in grace. And although, we should seek him each and every day because we love him, and we love the truth, I think that's the way it works. I think there's a lot of false brethren, but I also think there's a lot of real brethren. And the problem is when you forget about grace. You can't forget about grace. And that is the grace of God, the love of God, that he sent his only begotten Son for those who would believe, for his elect. And so it's a little short video. I didn't think it was going to be this short, but that's what I wanted to say. Thanks.